Hello guys, meet again with Queen MMA. Mike Tyson had a very promising career in heavyweight boxing, but unfortunately, his career was hampered by various cases. But before various cases happened to him, Tyson was one of the boxers who was greatly feared by his brutality. Actually, Mike Tyson's cases had occurred even before he entered the world of boxing. At that time, he was in and out of juvenile prison and expelled from school. But finally, he was pulled from bad boy school by a famous boxing coach, Cus D'Amato, because the coach saw great potential and talent in Michael Gerard Tyson, real name Mike Tyson. Before we dive into some of the boxers who have frustrated Mike Tyson in the ring, we need to know how terrible Mike Tyson was in his youth, or his early professional boxing career. But before we continue, we remind you to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss the latest update from Queen MMA. Mike Tyson made his first professional bout on March 6, 1985, against Hector Mercedes at the Plaza Convention Center, Albany. In his first match, Mike Tyson immediately won by knockout in the first round. Likewise, in the next 15 matches in the same year, 1985, Mike Tyson ended out all of his opponents by knockout, and almost all of them in the first round. Even the following year, namely 1986, he fought 12 times, which made him skyrocket in the rankings of boxers and attracted the attention of the mass media. Until his fights with great boxers of the world's top class, Mike Tyson finished these fights by knockout. But apparently, in Mike Tyson's entire career, there were 5 boxers who were able to survive until the last round. Mike Tyson, who is famous for his punch and knockout power, will certainly feel frustrated when facing an enemy who cannot even be defeated by knockout, even though he was defeated by a unanimous decision. And here are 5 boxers who frustrated Mike Tyson until the end of the round. 1. Versus James "Quick" Tillis. James "Quick" Tillis was the first man to survive Mike Tyson's rampage. At that time, Mike Tyson already had a record of 19 wins with 19 knockouts, while James Tillis had 31-8 with 24 knockout wins. Tyson has won all his fights with average knockouts in the first round. He's one step up in class on his way to the heavyweight championship. The fight, which was originally scheduled for March 29, was postponed due to Tyson suffering an ear infection. The fight was finally held on May 3, 1986, at the Civic Center, Glens Falls, and was officiated by Joe Cortez. The match was planned for 10 rounds, and they threw punches at each other throughout the fight. However, it was Mike Tyson who came out as champion with an absolute victory from the judges. 2. Versus Mitch "Blood" Green. 4 days after his fight with James Tillis, it was announced that Mike Tyson would be fighting Mitch "Blood" Green. Their fight took place on May 20, 1986, at Madison Square Garden, New York City, New York. It was 17 days after battling James Tillis and unable to win by knockout. Mike Tyson met his frustrating second man in the ring when he was just 19 years old. Mitch Green is ranked 1 place ahead of Mike Tyson in the WBC heavyweight standings. Although Green is in a higher position than Mike Tyson, there is a big difference in the fighter's wallet. That's what made Green threaten to resign the day before the fight. But when he learned that his chances of winning the WBC heavyweight title were at stake, Green chose to continue the fight. Mike Tyson, who controlled most of the fight, was unable to stop Mitch Green until the last round. However, Mike Tyson won a landslide victory via unanimous decision with 2 scores 9-1 and 1 score 8-2. 3. Versus James "Bonacrisher" Smith. The third person who can stand with Mike Tyson throughout the game is James "Bonacrisher" Smith. Their match is a unification duel between Mike Tyson and James Smith, as they both hold heavyweight belts. Mike Tyson at that time held the WBC version of the championship belt, while James Smith held the WBA version of the championship belt. Their fight took place on March 7, 1987, at the Las Vegas Hilton, Nevada, United States. They fought for 12 full rounds with buying and selling punches throughout the round until the duel ended. Mike Tyson, the most brutal man on earth, failed to knock out Smith in that match. But Mike Tyson was able to win the match via unanimous decision. Smith's WBA title became his collection, and Tyson mania exploded in the media after that. Four versus Tony Tucker. Tony Tucker is the fourth man to survive throughout the fight against Mike Tyson. Their match is called the Ultimate for the Undisputed Champion Heavyweight Championship. Mike Tyson was the holder of the WBA and WBC belts at the time, while Tony Tucker had the IBF title. Previously, Mike Tyson won the WBC title when he defeated Trevor Berbick and earned the WBA title when he defeated James Smith in his 12-round match. You could say Mike Tyson got a little resistance from Trevor Berbick and James Smith, but Tony Tucker was one of Mike Tyson's toughest opponents. Tucker fought Tyson aggressively in the early rounds, but Tyson dominated in the middle, which saw Tucker throw less punches and wrestle. In the final 2 rounds, Tucker began to taunt Mike Tyson by dropping his hands and gesturing for Tyson to hit him in the chin. However, the outcome of the fight was a unanimous victory over all 3 judges' scorecards for Mike Tyson, and he became the undisputed heavyweight champion. 5 versus Donovan Ruddock 2. The 5th man to last 12 full rounds with Mike Tyson was Donovan "Razor" Ruddock. Their meeting was the second of their controversial first meeting. In their first meeting, Mike Tyson hit Ruddock with a combination of 6 strokes that made the referee stop the fight, even though at that time Ruddock looked healthy enough to continue the fight. This then sparked controversy, so Mike Tyson and Donovan Ruddock's camp made a deal for a rematch. Finally, they met again at Mirage in Paradise, Nevada, USA, on June 28, 1991. This match was aimed at championship elimination, where the winner would be the mandatory top challenger for the Undisputed World Championship, which was then held by Evander Holyfield. In the match, they fought very fiercely, and Donovan Ruddock had fallen twice, but was able to get up and continue the fight. Mike Tyson was finally able to win with a unanimous decision from the 3 judges. Mike Tyson came out victorious with the consequences of a torn eardrum, while Donovan Ruddock suffered a fracture to his chin. They finally hugged each other, gave respect to each fighter, and ended their previous fight. Well, that's 5 fighters who were able to survive with Mike Tyson until the round ended in Mike Tyson's heyday. The fights where Mike Tyson lost, of course, are not included because the total of Mike Tyson's 6 defeats did not reach the last round. However, out of the 5 battles, which do you think is the most interesting? Don't forget to write your comments below, like and share the video, and subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss the latest updates from Queen MMA. Thanks for watching. See you in other videos. See ya.